Hello there, and welcome to Pink Milk, your Star Wars podcast for us superfans. And those of us who are forced to listen to them. Today is someday, and someday we're talking expectations for Season 2 of The Mandalorian with a smaller roundtable. Get ready, because it's time to drink up. Hello. How was my Tom impression at the top of the show? Not so good? Yeah, no, sorry. I miss him. He is out working. He is a very, very busy boy. But you got me. And my name is Brian. I'm your host. With me normally is my husband Tom, your better host. But he is not here today. And so this is going to be a quick one. Make sure to stick around till the end of the show. There's a powerful message that needs to be shared. We have a special announcement at the very end of this episode that we're very, 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 very excited about. And so, yeah, I'm super stoked. We had a really great conversation with a smaller roundtable today with Mark P., Emma, and Hope. And the four of us deep dove into what we want to have happen in Season 2, actually, and then a whole lot more, just like all of these other roundtables. If you've been enjoying these roundtables, we really, really, really need you to retweet our tweets. Head over to Apple Podcasts, give us a 5-star review, give us a written review. It really helps get Pink Milk into other people's ears and really helps share representation from our community to a larger audience, and it's something that we're very proud of and we're very proud to be doing. So please help us out with those retweets and give us some reviews, and hopefully you're enjoying the show. We've gotten a lot of great feedback, and thank you for those of you who have given us a review. Thank you to those of us who are retweeting us. Our numbers are growing. We appreciate you. We couldn't have done it without you. And I'm just so very, very, very proud of these 5 roundtables we have done with The Mandalorian. I couldn't have expected more. But so today we had a really, really fun conversation and just speculation. We had some zaniness. We had some funniness. We had some crying. So you might want to grab a box of Kleenex for that last 15 minutes. Just a heads up, and sorry. Not sorry. Anyways, get ready for this great conversation. It was supposed to be an hour. It's 2. So drink up. Well, hello there, everyone. I am very excited because we did not plan on this until last week, and we missed each other too much. So some of us are back to talk about Season 2 of The Mandalorian. We've got 2 more weeks. So we're going to have a quick little conversation with Mark, Emma, and Hope about what we want to see in Season 2 and maybe some of our responsible speculation of what may or may not come. We are totally unscripted. This is literally just 4 friends hanging out, chit-chatting, and nerding out about some Star Wars. So I'm excited to get this conversation going. In all honesty, I was supposed to watch the trailer this morning, and did I? Nope. I was busy making pancakes.
That's very important, though. Pancakes are super important.
When you have 3 growing boys, pancakes are very, very in order. And hot chocolate. Very important when it's 100 degrees outside.
Well, yes, there's that.
All right, so Hope, let's start with you. What are some things you want to see in Season 2? And let's get this conversation going.
You know, it's so tough because I have a lot of things that I kind of want to see, but I don't want to get my expectations up. I honestly just want it to really be even more of a personal story than what we already have. I wanted to, like, because that was my big concern with all these rumors of all these different cameos and stuff like that, is I don't want the story to be taken away from Din and Baby Yoda. I want it to be about them, and I do have some hope because Star Wars Rebels really handled cameos really well. Like, just because Leia and Lando and 3PO and R2 was in the story, it never took away from the main story going on. So I do have hope because Filoni has a track record of doing this well. But that's really what I just wanted to see. I just wanted to see more development between Din and Baby Yoda. Actually, no, I take it back. I have one thing that I've wanted to see in season 1, and it didn't happen, and I want to see it there, which I want to see Baby Yoda have a full, like, tantrum meltdown, but the Force comes out, so there's, like, guns and bombs flying around the ship, and, like, he's, like, and Din's just like, oh my god, because no normal parent has to deal with that shit. Sorry, I don't know. Starting early. No normal parent has to deal with that. So I want to see, like, full Baby Yoda tantrum with, like, blasters floating around everywhere and Din just being like, oh god, and, like, let it just be a cold opening. It doesn't even have to be a major scene. It's just like before the titles, like, you hear Yoda crying and Din's just like, and, like, the deep dad sigh he does his blasters, and then it's just like title screen. That's what I want.
I will tell you, there are certain 4.5-year-old children, may or may not have the last name Barry attached to them. First name may or may not be Michael, that may have or may not have Force abilities that can throw projectiles across the room that you didn't know were humanly possible when, God forbid, they have to brush their teeth. I'm just saying. Emma may be able to speak to that as well. Brushing of the teeth is the worst thing you could ever do in your possible entire life.
Actually, my child loves having his teeth brushed.
Serious? Oh, you are very lucky.
Nice.
You are very lucky. Every once in a while, we're just like, if that's how you want to represent yourself, by all means, go out into the world. But when nobody wants to talk to you, you'll know why. Because that breath right now, my friend, is disgusting. Okay.
Yeah.
Emma, how about for you? With the lucky child who loves to brush their teeth. I am really jealous. Really jealous.
He loves baths too. Baths.
Really
showers.
jealous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He loves it. Anyway, okay. So season 2, Mandalorian. What do I want to see? I've already talked about this, but I want to see more Darksiders. I want to see people using the dark side of the Force. That's my favorite thing. I love Inquisitors. I love Sith. I love, like, Night Sisters and Night Brothers. Like, I'm there for all of it. So that is one of the things that I want to see. I'm excited, like, the image of the mithril in the trailer. That also I found very intriguing, like, because I mean, yeah, like, have we got confirmation that Din unloaded all of his carbonite? Did we see all of them go, or just
I don't
the handful?
know, but I feel like, and I could be wrong, that he, like, when they were first looking at the puck before Den even arrived in the cantina, it said something like he was a senator's son or some wealthy being. Like, he has money, so there's that says something that maybe he's funding a mission, or he's buying it, or they went to him because they're like, hey, we need you to do this thing.
Right.
So
I'm really upset I didn't watch this trailer.
There's a trailer
Especially
with
after
Monday Night
our
Football.
first roundtable, when we all just dumped on Mithril, and then I think Hope made us all go, oh yeah, no, maybe I kind of like him.
Wikipedia is still wrong. It still says that is the Mithril's first appearance, so Wikipedia is still wrong.
Nice.
And I'm also
I
with
need
hope,
to find that Clone Wars. Yeah, sorry.
and I'm also with hope in that I do want to see the child being more childlike, because I've already discussed this in previous episodes, how much I enjoyed seeing him be like a toddlerino and, like, get into things he's not supposed to get into and be places he's not supposed to be. So I kind of want more mischief.
Yep.
More mischief from the child, please.
Well, I'm looking forward to their bond being closer, because, again, from my own personal life and my perspective, I have never had a baby in the house. Michael was the youngest child who came with us, and he was 4.5 at the time. And I've seen in just them, and sadly they've come from lots of different places. So there's a a warming period between parent and child that I don't know if you have a child biologically. I'm assuming that it's just kind of there, but that trust isn't implicit the minute they walk in the door. And I feel like we saw Baby Yoda trusting Din more through those first 8 chapters. And so to see Baby Yoda actually be themselves, which I'm not sure if we've totally seen that yet. Like he saved him with that fire flame, and that might have been like his big moment kind of thing. He's force choking and all that stuff too. But I do think that Baby Yoda is going to come out of his their little shell. We don't even know if it's a boy or girl, right? Maybe
we
they're
know
non-binary.
It's a boy.
That'd be awesome. I wish.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it's so interesting of him having the Force, and I think that helps a lot too. Something I didn't get a chance to really mention when we were going through the episodes is Din kind of starts using the baby as a moral compass. So like the moment that he sees like the baby is comfortable with Pelly, he totally starts trusting Pelly. But we see like when the baby is uncomfortable around other people, he's just like, I don't like this person anymore. So he actually starts using the baby like a moral compass. So I think having the Force definitely helps. But I would love to see like, baby be a baby and like swallow something, and he has to do like, oh god.
And I have to tell you, speaking of childlike moral compasses, Baby Yoda sure did choke the crap out of Gina Carano. So that moral compass is steering the right direction.
That we want to see more of in season 2.
Ian's not here, so I have to snap for Ian.
Exactly. There you go.
Mark P, how about for you?
As you folks have mentioned, more Papa Child time. They've had time to bond, and now they're this little functioning duo, and like was mentioned in the last chapter of season 1. He's told them like maybe the baby would be watching over you just as much as you're going to be watching over him. So just to see that dynamic and it grow as we go forward, like you said, just raising a child, the tantrums, the good moments, the bad moments, not wanting to brush their teeth, or they're happy because they're brushing their teeth, all that stuff that we talked about. I still sometimes don't like brushing my teeth, so I understand. I know it's important, but it's a pain in the rear before you're trying to go to bed and you're tired. Anyway, aside from that, I mean, we like you were all mentioning too, the cameos are going to be great if they're handled carefully. I'm a little nervous about Ahsoka. In fact, that's what we end up seeing because it's such an important character. I don't want to see a live action version ruin what we've worked towards all this time, but it's Filoni's baby, so there's going to be a lot of care going into this, and hopefully it comes across okay. But I mean, we've already got a fantastic new character in Moff Gideon that we have yet to see what happens with that character, what else they bring to it. He has a dark saber. How is that connected? Do we does it lead us back to Bo-Katan? I mean, all these things, all these questions that character brought in with them, with their appearance. And also what the ties are between Moff and the baby. It's like, what does he know? And is he being truthful, or is he just saying that to kind of throw Din off so that Din will be like, I don't want to take care of this baby anymore. Like he's just trying to divide them, so those are really, really important things that I really hope they address, and that, it's still not left for another season to kind of figure out, because, those are pretty important questions that have been brought up just in that last episode alone. So, those are the things I'm really looking forward to. They've got a lot to work with already, so I'm super excited.
I'm also really curious about the doctor that was doing something to Baby Yoda.
Oh yeah,
especially because he has like a Camino patch on his sleeve, and he's not dead. So I would love to see him come back and kind of add a lot of context as well.
Yeah, I don't think we're done with that character.
I do.
I think that character had a lot to go. Yep.
Fennec, we
I don't
need
think
to
they're
see come
dead.
back. I don't think she's dead either. I want to see her come back. And
So I'm curious I don't know if everyone read that Entertainment Weekly article that came out, maybe a month ago now, or we've listened to enough YouTube or podcasts to have some idea about it. There was the conversation in there that this show, like season 2, takes place pretty close after season 1 in time. But then somewhere between in the series, like the story gets a little bit bigger and we start following some different characters around. Like it was really like very loose conversation, and that there was a little bit of headbutting between Lucasfilm and Disney. Lucasfilm wanting to do more of a connected series that was more overarching arcs, and Disney wanted to stick to the one and done episodes that then thematically tied together. So I think that's going to be an interesting thing to see who wins that battle, if that was even a real thing. I'm really hoping. Yeah, I'm curious. I've seen a lot of. I know I am like the Tatooine stan of the group, so I'm very excited to go back to Tatooine. We see a Bantha and a Tusken Raider, which I've heard people say, well, that doesn't mean that it has to be on Tatooine, but correct me if I'm wrong. I could have sworn that in a certain point of view, there was the story about the Tusken Raider, and they've never really left. And there was one, right? And she was trying desperately to get off Tatooine, and she would have been the first. If I'm vaguely remembering a story about that, but like to me, you see a Bantha and a Tusken Raider together; they're on Tatooine.
Yeah. Well, and
so
also in the text, Din says in that episode that they are the natives of Tatooine. So it would stand to reason that like they're the original inhabitants and that Tatooine
100%.
is their base. So we have textually, like it wouldn't symbolically make sense. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I'm hoping that's chapter 9, which I hope we just start at chapter 9. I hope it's not whatever. So chapter 9, I really hope that we go back to Tatooine, and Din's like, I need some parenting classes, and we see Baby Yoda strapped on the back of a motorcycle before we run into Pelly again, and she's gonna like spend some time going, here's parenting 101, and for the rest of season 2, Din will no longer just let Baby Yoda ride around in a pouch on the side of a motorcycle without a helmet. I get that you don't remove your helmet but you're a parent now, and you should put your helmet on the baby, and you should run the risk of crashing without a helmet. That's, so I think that really should probably be the overarching theme of all of season 2. Din Djarin just becoming a better parent. I've now learned
what if every episode is just like a PSA of like how to parent with Din Djarin?
That's what
I
always
bring back G.I. Joe.
Seatbelts.
Yep.
Thanks, Mando. Now I know.
The more you know.
That's what I think of when I think Star Wars. I think safety first.
I think the original trilogy is the only time I've ever seen seatbelts in Star Wars. Because when we were doing commentaries over on my podcast, like I remember just being like, they're putting on seatbelts. Where did those come from? I didn't think they even had those.
Wait, when do they put on seatbelts?
And A New Hope, like they're like strap it, and Luke's just like,
oh my God, you're right.
They actually put on.
You have seatbelts, but no handrails. That's a confusing galaxy.
That's okay. Padme can fit like 16 full outfits and wigs and three suitcases, but she just dies with no OBGYN help. That's where they put all their technology is in their suitcase, not in their Medicare.
No
that's
handrails.
That's big business comes first, and those wig companies need their money, so that's where it's going to go. The trickle down effect.
I will never understand why in a galaxy that has light speed travel, they can't tell when someone's having twins.
I like in my head, I like to think that was like her choice to not know. She didn't want to know. Yeah. And she didn't know that, she just knew she was pregnant. So her assumption was she only had one. I will never understand she lost the will to live. Like, I just can't. That is a line that I've never been able to accept. I can't. I'm like, this is, just say he killed her. Just say he killed her. Put it in there. She held on to live to give birth. That would have been a great line.
I used to feel that way too, but I ran into this woman at Dragon Con and she went through the same thing. She almost died because it's actually a very rare thing of like medical conditions. Sometimes when women give birth, that they're just like, "Oh, I'm done, and now I'll die."
Jeez.
Like it's a real thing, but it's such a rare
Hell?
condition.
No.
And ever since then, I was like, "Oh, Padme was one of those." But it was also just George Lucas's writing because he gave a woman with curls a hairbrush.
Marsha.
Exactly.
Every time I see that scene, I just think of Jan Brady and like, really, Padme, you were so great. This is so not good.
Can I ask?
And I love Revenge of the Sith, but this is not good.
Can I ask a question to the group?
Yes.
Do you guys think that we will? Well, let me backtrack a little second. I can't remember if it was Filoni or Favreau, but one of them said that they know that the child's real name. And so, do you think that we'll learn the name, or Baby Yoda will speak this season, or both?
I do not think he will speak. Not this season. I'm very nervous about a name because I feel like you are going to fail.
Yeah.
And I don't know. But I also don't like what it says to not give a child a name. And like, I don't like that idea either. Like this, I don't know. Wow. I'm pulling a hope now. I was not ready for this question.
Good question.
Why did I accept the first response?
I kind of like, on one hand, like want Din to name him, and maybe the child doesn't actually know its name. Like maybe it was taken from the temple or something. It was like we were saying last week, like not knowing Yoda's past is a big thing, and so maybe it was taken before it ever got a name. So and also part of me wants it to be just really stupid, like Din Jr. or something. Like I just want that.
Good old DJ.
DJ, yeah. If he would just be like, yeah. But I also I don't like Din as a name. I think Din's kind of.
How about?
But I do want. I kind of want Din to name his child. I think that would be a really big moment for them.
How about Summer? Let's break the tradition of the Y. It's, hey, y'all are a bunch of Mandomeras, and he loved Omera so much that he's going to name his child Summer after winter.
She's not a hippie.
No, Summer's not going to work.
What's the Baby Yoda's last name going to be? Phoenix? You know?
Her name is going to be Raven Rainstorm.
There you go.
Demencia Way.
Yeah.
Dementia Way.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you two think? I really don't know. I don't know if I want a name, but I don't like what it says if they don't give him a name.
I'm okay. We'll learn certain things about Baby Yoda, but like I don't know if it's okay to continue with the mystique that the Yoda character itself, the original trilogy character, has had surrounding it all this time. You know, I almost don't want to know too much, but if you're going to give me information, again, do it the right way. Like to think of a character in that sense that I don't like learning too much about. I think about the xenomorphs in the Alien series. When you start learning too much, I think I start fearing them less, or I start thinking about them less than I should. You know, I'd like that air of mystery. But, you know, give me a little bit. But, you know, I don't need to have every question answered. And that mystique, I want it to stick around. And you know, so.
Yeah.
Well, that's something that Star Wars has run into in the past, right? Like the problem of over-explaining. Like I already talked about. Yeah, there's that. That's a very notorious example. But there's also like what I spoke about on an earlier episode about how like some people felt like the prequels sort of demystified Vader to the point of making him seem less intimidating or less threatening. It's like, you know, when you think about the original trilogies, it's like all you know, like once you learn that he's Luke Skywalker's father, like all you know about him is that like he used to be a good man. You know, he had people who loved him, and now he's this. Yeah. And your imagination can just run wild in filling in like what happened in between then and now, right? and also, you know, the thing about one of the biggest complaints about Solo was about them explaining his name, his
Oh,
like
God.
why his
Yeah.
last name is so.
Oh,
It's like that was so unnecessary, you know. So
yeah,
that's definitely a place where Star Wars historically falls down.
yeah,
You
It's
know,
the
I
over
used to
explaining.
not like the
yeah.
midichlorians, but now I kind of love that because it proves how far the Jedi had fallen to rely on technology, not on the Force. Because, like, if you think about it, Qi'ra Imwe is a Force-sensitive character, and he's at the right age that he should have been at the Jedi Temple, but he probably just didn't meet their midichlorian count. And it probably saved him from Order 66 for him to go on in the Force. Like, I actually
Interesting. Yeah.
love that because it just shows how far the Jedi have fallen. And I used to hate the midichlorians, but I think it's so strong. So
I'm with you
yeah.
and agree with you, but in a different way. Like I'm a huge fan of the midichlorians, like gigantic. From the minute I saw that razor blade, I was all over the midichlorians. Like I love it because what I think it said, and maybe this is my own issues with religion as a whole, but how religion will take something and make it their own. And I saw it as a way of the Jedi taking ownership over something that isn't theirs. And which goes back to what Luke says, if it was their own hubris, they didn't control it. And they
Yep.
said, well, we can see these things
Yeah.
and therefore it is ours. And it was their way of manipulating
Yeah.
things. You have, the Night Sisters, who were clearly Force sensitive people, and they built a ritual.
Yep.
Did they really need all the hocus pocus to do those things? Their culture said that it did. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
they did use
Yeah.
black
And they
magic.
look so good doing
which I
it.
just watched Hocus. So last
And they
week
also have
was,
little
as we
slots.
all knew, was our 13th anniversary. I was very excited. And welcome to 13 years. Didn't
Happy
go out to dinner.
anniversary.
We stayed home and ordered a pizza, watched Hocus Pocus with the kids, and was in bed at 7:30. So Hocus Pocus is on top of mind right
Married
now.
life.
But yeah, like I love that the midichlorians did that, because I think it was the minute that we would grow to understand more between episodes 2 and 3, but like it was just manipulation by the Jedi. And like I think it's so awesome. They took nature, a force of nature, put 4 walls around it, put a doorway through it, and said, it's ours now. We're going to own this because it's not yours. And so good.
Yeah. Whatever problems I may have with midichlorians, I do remember, and I love this moment, being in the theater and the moment where they say that Anakin's midichlorian count is probably higher than Yoda's, and there were people who audibly gasped in the theater, and that was awesome. So whatever you may think of it, it does serve a purpose. And like you were saying, it kind of also speaks to that, in that the Jedi took the science out of it to be able to explain it this way, but there was always a science to it. It's just that now you look down upon it, it's like you turn your nose up to it. It's like, no, but people like Qui-Gon or like Yoda and other people still know how important they are. Does say a lot about how powerful these beings can be. And that being said, I wonder if they'll bring that into The Mandalorian, and if we'll find out if Baby Yoda has a high midichlorian count, because I think it would be nice to have that little nod to the prequels again. It's like, and let people complain if they want to, because they'll find something
what
to complain
if
about.
Yoda
Oh my god! What if
was pompous back then, which I think we grew to understand he was, especially by Revenge of the Sith? What if he was over here saying, I have the highest midichlorian count, and told everyone that he did, and maybe midichlorian counts don't mean anything at all. He was just really old, so he became very attached to the Force through time. And it was him saying midichlorian counts actually matter, and I will run this Jedi Mother because I have the highest midichlorians, but they really didn't mean anything. And what if that was part of Yoda's exile?
Yeah.
Just something you said, maybe.
To be humble, because he was humbled. He was really humbled.
Yep.
He kind of needed that. He really did. I think his time on Dagobah did him a lot of good. He may not have completely learned everything he needed to, because there obviously were some problems in the original trilogy with how they told Luke about his overall background and what they wanted him to learn and what they needed him to do for them. Sometimes I feel bad for poor Luke, because they're all like, okay, here you are, this is who you are, guess what, we got to send you on a mission. You got to save the galaxy. Anyway.
What if in a later season, when Baby Yoda's older and he thinks he's like, my midichlorian counts aren't as high as they're supposed to be, and Den's like, you work for it, I will teach you, and he learns like how to work for his forceness, and he like finds his own self-worth, and he's just like, thanks, Dad.
From what I know, this will be from what I imagine Den is, his answer, at least right now, would be man up. That would be his response, man up. And hopefully he will learn away from that.
I don't think so.
Here we go with that again.
So.
Here we go with that again.
I think he's not that kind of person. I think
Yeah.
I think that's so much of what season 1 was him showing how soft he was and how he's actually a sensitive boy underneath his armor.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm sorry, Brian. I keep posing questions to the group. The other thing that caught my eye going into this season, and again, I can't remember if it was Filoni or Favreau who said that, but they would talk about also the rise of the First Order. What are your thoughts on that? Because that to me, and this is my normal, not deep diving Star Wars friends and stuff like that who don't go into the extra lore and stuff like that. The number one complaint I hear about the sequel trilogy is just people just don't know where the First Order came from. They don't understand why it's just suddenly here and then they suddenly have this weapon. Like, they just don't understand that. And I would say probably after the movies, The Mandalorian is probably the most accessible thing to normal fans, because even then a lot of them don't get into the cartoons because it's a cartoon. So I think that could be a very smart move. But I wanted to hear everybody else's thoughts. And I also just want to see Ray Sloan, because I need my bisexual queen on
I have lots of feelings, so I'll let somebody else go first. If anyone wants to jump in.
I'm kind of
Go
drawn
for
to
it,
one.
Mark. You can
Go
do it.
M.
Yeah. So okay.
Anyway, the First Order, right? Like, I'm super excited about this because I think that could be a really great thing for the actual show, and I just really want to see Ray Sloan. Oh my god, give me
So
Ray
you
Sloan.
want to see them plant the seeds of the First Order, basically, in what's ahead.
I want to see Snoke. I want to see Snoke being the big boss. Personally, I think it could be really, really great.
Yeah.
I think I really liked Snoke. I think that was one of The Last Jedi's greatest qualities, because when we see that dude get chopped in half, he was like an overgrown Gollum from The Hobbit in the first one. He didn't have much to do. In the minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it was like, but the second Kylo Ren walks into that room, you hate Snoke. Like, it was whatever magic sauce that he had, Rian Johnson did brilliant with that, because that is like, I was so excited when that dude got chopped in half, and I was like, I've had this character for probably 15 minutes, but I hate him so much that it was really like, it was so good. But I think, like, I would love to see Snoke in it. I personally would love to see the First Order, because I don't totally remember like how long they've been around, if anyone exactly knows how long they've been around. But I think the show could very much fill in the gaps of time, like the Clone Wars did for the Clone Wars between episodes 2 and 3. And I think it could be really interesting. I think that's why the character at the end of Chapter 5 is Cad Bane. I think that we are collecting Force-sensitive babies to help make super strong Force Palpatine clones. I think that could be a really interesting story that can help bridge the gap of reintroducing Palpatine, because I think a rather collective group of people will admit that it was not executed the greatest, his entrance. And now, at least going back retrospectively, like if we watch them and this show takes those steps, it will seem very plausible and very reasonable that Palpatine is back in The Rise of Skywalker. But I think that could be actually really cool if we are trying to extract midichlorians and Force-sensitive babies. And maybe by season 3, we realize there's other Force-sensitive babies out there, and that becomes Mando's mission, is like rescuing. He becomes like a foster dad, and I'm going to go save the galaxy
Ooh.
Force-sensitive babies. Like, I think it could be really, really cool.
Ooh.
Well, I mean, we've already seen sort of, like in the Fallen Order video game. Has anyone here played it? Besides
Yes.
me?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, where it's
I haven't played
basically
it, but I
like
watched
the
plenty
whole
of walkthroughs.
point of the storyline is like it's a bad idea to take a bunch of
Mhm.
Force sensitive kids and put them all in one place. Like in the game, the main character has an opportunity to like basically try to rebuild the Jedi Order by creating a Jedi Academy, and he destroys that chance on purpose because he's given a vision of the future that shows the Empire coming in, and like basically like when you put all of the kids in one place, they only have to do one raid to get everyone.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
it's like that creates like an element of risk.
See, I'm
right?
looking forward to Star Wars taking the approach of everything's connected through that kind of avenue. Like where I personally don't want it to turn into the MCU and super connected. I love the idea that like for eras or for trilogies, there's thematic connections that are weaving through everything and little like subplots between everything that maybe can kind of add up. Like I don't want it to be super tied together. Like I don't want that because I think I don't know. Like you can watch the Clone Wars without watching the movies, and you can see the movies without watching Clone Wars. But if you put them together, they build together really well. But like some of the Marvel stuff, like Endgame, if you haven't seen a good chunk of them, Endgame doesn't work for me. But I don't know.
Em, I was going to ask you something earlier because we were talking about comic books the other day, and I'm trying to remember if you read it because I did the Kylo book where they show how Snoke's relationship came into this. I'm trying to remember if it was. I don't think it was the Snoke title on its own, but it might be. There you go. But I'm trying to remember. When we see this kind Snoke, who's kind of catching Kylo in his web and everything.
Yeah.
And obviously by then he's probably, he's already established in the First Order, but he's putting on this facade to kind of, get Kylo to ease into his role or his place in the galaxy, so to speak, as Snoke and the Emperor plan on Kylo to be where he needs to be, yeah, it'd be interesting to see what leads to that. I don't know if we'll get to see this in The Mandalorian, but I would love to see it anyway. Like you said, it's something that I want to see played out.
Yeah, because that happens about like 19 years after
exactly,
Mandalorian,
and it's a long way. Yeah,
and also with the rise of the First Order too, because like that. The real kickoff of that is the napkin bombing, but the napkin bombing takes place in 28 ABY, so that's pretty far out. Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Thank you. I knew it. I was starting to think. I was like, I know I've heard that, and it's been a while since I read it, but I was like, why does that sound like it was in Bloodline?
Yeah,
cool.
because their political arm are the centrists in the Senate that are up against the populists, and that is what ultimately sort of sways. That's their strategic, that's the strategic event that sways the workings of the Senate into the centrist favor, which creates the conditions needed for the First Order to take power. But they have been, the idea is that they've, if you look in the canon materials, the First Order has been assembling itself like a military force for years and years and years before they actually expose themselves. So they're basically arming themselves in secret.
Because isn't that the whole opening of I'm still working my way through Alphabet Squadron, but the opening with Erica was saying like how, you know, the people who were more casual Imperials dropped out right away, like after Alderaan. And then like when the Emperor died, even more people dropped out. So the First Order is made up of the most
Yep.
extreme extremists.
Yeah, the fanatics.
Yeah, and that's it is.
Well, yeah. Well, look. I mean, look at this is
Okay,
we
sorry.
now know after the Rise of Skywalker, we know this was Palpatine the whole time. This was the First Order, and then he had his final order. So we know that Palpatine can play a long game. Like I love that Snoke isn't a long game because I feel like Snoke is the Emperor from the Return of the Jedi, who's already owns everything. He's maniacal. He's over the top. He's got his Liberace gold outfit on. Like he is like, I have no reason to hide anymore. This is mine. Look at me. Like that's who Snoke is. He's that half of Snoke is the Emperor. He is not Palpatine. He is the Emperor. And like we know that there's a long game being played. There is clearly something going on between Flava Flav, the client, who we thought was the big bad, right? And we're seeing these scraggly looking stormtroopers who to us are desperately holding on to what they want to have. They're like holding on, they're eating the air just to survive the past, right? And so we think that's what the Empire is. I think that's what Flava Flav thought the Empire was. And then all of a sudden we get chapter 7 and we're like, oh no, we've got Death Troopers back, we've got shiny suit, healthy looking stormtroopers. So the Empire really isn't gone, because they're back in the shadows, slowly building something that I think comes to be the Final Order, because that's what's interesting. The First Order was nothing. It was really the Final Order the whole time. We didn't know it as an audience, but they were just phase 1 of my back to coming out party, which again, yeah. But so I don't know. I think it could be really cool to have those seeds sprinkled in, and it would feel very Dave Filoni, because I think we've all mentioned it. By the end of season 1, looking back on it, especially close to a year later, it feels so season 1 Dave Filoni. Like everything is there. I feel, because I, as a student of Dave Filoni, as a super fan, hope you're like, we're all right there. We're all like there. Like I feel like I have a good idea of some of the kernels that are going to sprout really big. I know there'll be some surprises in there too, but I feel like I have, which is those once that show finished and looking back is when I think I really fell in love with The Mandalorian. I've said it several times. Like I liked it when it first came out, but I didn't love it. And I didn't love it until probably 6 months later. But that's how it was with Rebels. First season of Rebels was cool. Like I was like, okay, this is fine. This is fun. It's good. It wasn't great.
Yeah.
And then season 2 started, and I was like, well, really, the end of season 1, and here's my girl coming down the flight of the ladder, and all of a sudden watch season 1 all over again. I'm like, oh my god, show's awesome. This show is so amazing, but it felt like fluff. It felt like fluff until Dave Filoni's so, I feel, who's Monet, the he paints with these dots, but we don't get he works like we're watching him paint, and we're watching him paint one dot at a time. And as the season goes back, you start to slowly come out, and then all of a sudden, like you look at Clone Wars now, and we know the whole run of Clone Wars now, and oh my god, what a brilliant, beautiful masterpiece that is. You can't see everything when you're in it, and it's so like I have faith in Filoni, and that's what Mandalorian will be like. We are gonna leave that show whenever that show comes to an end, being heartbroken that it's over, because it has us all like wrapped around his little finger of amazingness.
With
That's
any
a really
luck,
good Filoni
sorry, go
allegory,
ahead.
Thank you.
analogy, by the way.
Favreau and Filoni work really, really well together. I mean, and I have a feeling that even when this ends, I don't think we'll see the last of them making a show. That they'll bring them back to do something else together. Because Favreau, I never would have imagined all those years ago watching Swingers or the other movies that he was in, that he would end up being a big part of this, and he'd be part of Star Wars, and he's just as much in there now as Filoni is. Like, you think of it, they're synonymous with everything that we love about Star Wars right now, and that it would be on TV. That's the other thing. It's changed a lot, and this year has changed all that too. Because while I think that we were already headed this way anyway, it's been kind of pushed more towards the forefront because it's become the medium where it's our go-to now, since we can't go to a movie theater, and it's gonna continue changing and evolving. I mean, we were already gonna get there, I think, eventually, but we just kind of just got pushed out, just like, here, let's fast track this. For better or for worse. It's hard because I miss going to a movie theater. I love that experience. I love being in a big theater, sharing that experience with fellow fans, hearing the cheering and all these things. That's a huge deal for me. But I also understand that, sometimes it's hard to get to a movie theater because we're busy, and you want to be able to watch something at home on your own time and take it in and not have a lot of distraction. Because as you guys know, you go to a movie theater, you're going to get a lot of distractions. People who don't know how to relax, put their phones down, not talk during the movie, all this stuff that's going to happen. But all that aside, I do miss
or your
the
family
experience.
grows into a family of 5, and now it costs $475 to go sit in a movie for an hour and a half.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, I personally think Star Wars works better in a television format, but as I was saying, I can't remember if we were recording then or before. I'm just personally a TV person over a movie person. I think it's so difficult to get so much of a story in a 2.5, 3 hour movie and to have it so deep, and I think that's why what we have with the original trilogy and the prequels, they're very ambitious movies. But I love a television format because you can really dig into like little things and storylines and really get into character work. I feel like the movies provide like, all right, here's the basics, and then you have the beautifulness, like the strength of television to like color in around the very basics and to actually add more texture and stuff.
100%. I mean, Clone Wars.
My brain stopped about halfway through that explanation.
I have said this on this podcast so many times, but I believe with every fiber of my Star Wars loving being that Clone Wars is the foundation of all of Star Wars. I think it is like the spine of Star Wars, and everything forever moving forward will be compared to the excellence that show is. Like, it is so perfect. The imperfect episodes, right down to droids walking around on a big, bright, boring planet, brought something that is so incredibly important to the greater picture. Like I think Hope and I know, or at least agree, that season 7, the spine of that season was the Martez sisters. Like, that is so, it doesn't have the flash pants of the Siege of Mandalore, and the Siege of Mandalore is really awesome. I think the Siege of Mandalore will become very important in the Mandalorian, probably, but the heart of season 7 is, and really, I think that arc overall is so much about what the Clone Wars was trying to say, right down to these two, to the Martez sisters. It was like the swan song of that entire series of, they were fighting a war for the, on the surface, all the prequels, the Jedi, the clones, the Senate, regardless if it was a truth or not, were saying they were fighting for the people. And we finally meet.
The people didn't even know what they were doing. They like Trace Martez flat out says, "I don't even know what the Jedi do. They started the war, right?" And Ahsoka's like,
but that's
no,
what I think. That to me is one of the things I love so much about that arc. Is like, they said they were fighting for the people, but they clearly weren't, because we just met the people for really the first time. I felt like the Martez sisters were really the first just innocent people trying to live their life, and we saw how that war affected them. We saw the war, how it affected people throughout the series, but I feel for most of the people, the side characters that we saw, that they were people already actively fighting against the war. They were fighting against the droid invasion of their home world. They were senators trying to figure it out, but like, the Martez sisters were really just two innocent kids, and that was really the first time we had seen that. And like, what a beautiful way to end that series, to see how, and then those two sisters are really what sent Ahsoka into who we met in Rebels. It was not anyone else. It was those two sisters gave us the Ahsoka that we had in Rebels and going forward. I think I I love that. I love that arc so much. Like I love it. I love the Martez. I just love it. I love it.
You mentioned something while you were talking about the Siege of Mandalore. How much of the Mandalorian history do you think we'll get, or do you want in season 2?
Anyone want to go? I think we have to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if we do get it, I want it again to come through our
Yep.
drag mother.
Yeah.
Because I like her giving the history lessons. I like her reminding Den where we came from, where we're going, so to speak. You know, she's a walking like history book, so to speak. She keeps them all in line and is very aware that obviously they come from a very, I don't want to say maybe prideful group of people. They follow a certain code. It's important to them, but they also have to be able to evolve to survive because they
Yep.
don't live in that same world anymore. So I think again we're gonna see more of Din's growing up, and maybe we'll see a teenage Din, and maybe that progression will be like working with Baby Yoda's growing. How this one works with this, and you know where that next step for each character, and you know where they're going, and that interspersed with like the Mandalorian history, you know, we'll get a bigger picture of it all if we continue the way that we've been going. So yeah.
I would hope also that the armor would have a role to play in talking about the history of the Mandalorians, especially because sort of as this spiritual leader figure, when you're talking about history and things that have happened in the past, it can get really dry and boring. And what happens when you have like a spiritual figure or like some type of like a coaching type of figure, what they do is they imbue that history with meaning. And they tell you things used to be this way because blah blah blah. And now they're like this because, and that's a much more interesting story than just like, oh, you know, such and such a person was in charge from this date to that date, and then this person took you know, like that's such a boring. And I personally, I do find the history of Mandalore a little bit boring. Like
Agreed.
like when I try and get the summary on Wikipedia, it's like you know, all these machinations and stuff in different factions. It can get confusing, and you know, your eyes glaze over. So I think it would be much more interesting to hear Mandalorian history and lineage told in a way that is almost like a narrative, like a story about, you know, what the meaning was behind events and what the motivations were of the people who were struggling for power or who were trying to decide what kind of a society, you know, Mandalore was going to have. You know, because as we've already discussed, you know, we had the, you know, you had the different factions of the more militaristic ones and then the ones that were trying to be more diplomatic, right? We've already
I
seen
want to
that in
see
canon.
that history lesson so bad. And this is probably unhealthy expectation because we don't even know if Bo-Katan's really in it. Like, I mean, I feel very strongly that she is. Like, it has been, Katie Sackhoff talked about like a year and a half ago, greatest day at work. And like, I believe so much that the armor is tied to Darth Maul somehow, at least at some point in her past. I just believe that is there. And my God, how amazing would a history lesson of the Darksaber be between a Maul follower and Bo-Katan? And watching these two polar opposite people coming together to forge the new path of what Mandalorians are going to be going forward. Like, I think it would just be like, I'm setting myself up for disappointment, but I want to see that story so bad because I think it would be so amazing. The armor is clearly very tough. We saw her take down all of those people on her own, but she is a soft character. She is gentle in the way she speaks. She has clearly come from a different place, but chosen this new path. And Bo-Katan, all we know about Bo-Katan is she is a fist first kind of like that is how we don't know that, but that's all we know of her. we don't know if that's who she is now. I think that's more speculation that is unhealthy, but in my head, and I want her to be the one that raises Din. Like, I want her to be the one that is his adoptive mother, and that's why she's back somehow. And I just think I think it would bring Clone Wars, Rebels, and The Mandalorian in together in a really, really wonderful way. And because we've gotten the Mandalorian story only with those three shows, they have to be connected. Like, they have to come together somehow, because that's the only stories we have.
I want you to be so right, because to be perfectly honest, the moment I saw Gideon holding the Darksaber, I was like, oh no, something horrible has happened to Bo. Because she would never let that out of her hands. 100%. I was like, oh God, don't tell me Bo-Katan is dead. Oh God. So I want you to be right, because I have a horrible gut feeling that Bo's not there anymore, because I can't see her ever relinquishing the Darksaber in any condition other than death. And I just, I want you to be so right, because I just don't see her letting it go. But when it comes to Mando history, for me, the thing that I have to wonder the most is, how many seasons is this show going to be? I think that's a very important question, because that's going to dictate how fast they release information and stuff. And I never used to think about this question until Star Wars Resistance, where I'm so used to a Filoni show being like 4, 5, 6, 7 seasons. And so season 1 felt like a perfect, here's the thing, I love Resistance. I think season 1 is pretty damn near perfect. And season 2 is a hot mess, because in season 1 they set up like 3 to 4 to 5 seasons worth of storylines, and then they suddenly ended the show and they had to wrap up 3 or 4 or 5 seasons worth of storylines in a single season. And that's when I started thinking about like, how long do I want shows to actually be? I think 3 seasons is always a really good number for a show. But if The Mandalorian is going to be like their flagship show going forward until we get another movie, that's another 5 years worth of storytelling. So then I don't really want like all the Mandalorian stuff up front. I want it to be little information nuggets during that time. But if the show's only going to be 3 seasons, then give me a good chunk of it in season 2, so then season 3 can just be like wrapping up.
I think at this point it's really hard to even imagine how long it's going to be, because season 1 really in a lot of ways could have just been 1 season. Yes, there's some stories there. I mean, clearly there's stuff, but it could have ended there, and we could have written a story that it was a very, very big success. So it's going to be really interesting to bring back to that article where in it the rumor was, or that Lucasfilm wants more connective tissue and Disney wanted more one and done. So I think how season 2 is told is going to be interesting too. Does it follow the same path of season 1? I loved season 1, but I would personally much rather I want a very connected season. Like, I want it to like more anime style, more manga style, like just like one thing bleeds into the next. But I also loved in Clone Wars, you had 2 or 3 episodes that were really tied together, and then you would have this offbeat. Rebels did this perfectly. Rebels was so good with having a fun fluff episode. And maybe the first couple times you saw it, you're like, oh my God, why are we going back here? Like, we just didn't you find your rhythm? And now we're back to this fluff, quote unquote, fluff episode. And then I learned to dread the fluff episode, because I knew something heartbreaking was about to come up. They need to warm me up because they're about to tear me back down. And I'm like, oh God, still, I've only seen the end of Rebels 2 times. I will never put myself through that again, because it is gut wrenching. I will watch the epilogue because I love the epilogue. I love seeing it. Like, I love whatever Ahsoka, whatever she is now, whatever Gandalf Ahsoka is. Like, I love it. I love Sabine's dialogue. I love all of those things. Still hate that Jason Syndulla looks like a little white kid with Sabine dyed his hair. Like, it really bothers me. So I usually ignore that part. But I don't know. Maybe I want that. Maybe I want a little bit of like a compromise where, because we're nerds and we love Dave Filoni, when I get the episode of Peli and Din Djarin having parenting 101 and we see like the funny moment of Baby Yoda like having a force tantrum, I'm gonna love that episode because I know I'm about to have my heart broken coming up, and I'm gonna get some really big, heavy munchingness, and then I'm gonna say I can't wait for that next fluff episode because I need something that is less important in the grand scheme of things, so I can have time to process what I just saw, because I will never be the same. Because that's what Dave Filoni does. You will not be the same person after this arc. You will be a new person going forward. You're welcome.
Brian, I was going to say that if you don't get that story that you're looking for in this next season,
I'm going to partner with Emma.
The fanfic of what you need to write it. What would you have loved to have seen? Now it'll be real for you. And other people will probably be like, I love this idea.
Emma will write it. I will illustrate it. We'll make a comic.
You need to do that.
I'm telling you now.
Sure, I'm down. I'll do it.
There we go.
Audio dramas
and
of it.
This will be an inside joke for now, but there will be a peen zone involved in this said story going forward. There will be knitting. We will find the armor is going to have this talent that no other forger has, but she can make Beskar thread. She is so good. She can wield that Beskar into and we can knit Beskar, and all of a sudden they're like making chainmail of Beskar, and it's going to be great. It's right itself. Here we go. Going forward, thank you everyone so much. Pink Milk is no longer about Star Wars. We are now writing a fan fiction of The Mandalorian and discussing it week by week. You're welcome. Pink Milk is now called Peen Zone. Peen Zones and sweaters. Sorry, listeners, you have no idea what we're talking about, but here you go. You're seeing friendships. Yes.
At least I hope they don't. No. They would have had to click on at least 2 links in my Twitter profile to get to
listeners,
what you're saying.
Tweet at us what you think a peen zone is. Please, let's get a peen zone thread going.
Exactly. It's a girthy topic.
Oh God, you guys have to stop.
I'm all for a wider story than a longer story. Personally, I think that's what I'm here for.
Wow.
Also, Pink Milk listeners, welcome to Brian's train of thought when I don't have my husband sitting at the desk across from me, kicking my shins violently, telling me to stop talking.
Oh my God! You realize Bobby's not on too. What the hell? It's like
you realize
why are you not bringing Tom on these?
This is a very
I have to say really in IRL, like it's been very good timing because Tom has gotten very busy with work, so he has not been home as much. So it's been I'm very glad that I have my new friends, so I can still have a podcast.
Yay! Oh, cool.
Exactly.
You get to babysit you.
I will have less bruises though on my shins. I'm telling you, people, I have bruises on my shins from my husband, who is very, I'm sure you can tell if you listen, very straight-laced and very private about things. And I get kicked under the desk so many times to stop talking, babe. I know where you're going. Don't go there. Don't go there. Don't go there. Don't go there.
That reminds me of my aunt and uncle, because my uncle is that person, and my aunt's always reeling him in. Oh, and the funny thing is to hear her say it in Spanish in the tone that she says it, because she's a very classy air about her, but to hear her be like, "What are you doing? What are you saying? Please don't say that." Like, it's so funny. Family functions, you would hear that from the corner of the room because my uncle is about to go into a story that really doesn't have any room to be told in a family function.
There's been so many conversations that Tom has made me delete. Like, we will edit it out and he makes me delete it. He's like, if I don't watch you delete this, I know you'll put it back in the show and I'm out of the room. So I'm going to watch you delete. I'm going to watch you empty that trash can. It will never. My parents might listen to this. My sisters might listen to this. I have nieces and nephews. It's a good time. Hey, with that, let's take a real quick breaky break. And we're back. That was a nice little breaky break. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you all had some more coffee. And Mark, M, and I need more coffee, and we will tell you why shortly. So, the trailer. We all have seen season 2 trailer. There is a new trailer coming out at the time of this recording on Monday. I'm trying to decide whether or not I will or will not see it. I don't know yet. I say I won't, but I know I will, so I might as well just tell you I will watch it, and I'm going to be really ticked off if our certain girl appears in a trailer and I don't get to see her in the show. But anyways, it's coming, and I will see that. So what are our favorite scenes from the trailer, our favorite shots that have us the most excited for season 2 as we enter the second half of this here episode? Hope, let's start with you.
I also just want to say they told me their cool thing, and it's so cool, you guys. So sit until the end of the episode. It's so cool, you guys. I'm very excited for everybody else here. So just stay tuned for that because it's really cool.
That's a pluggy plug.
You ready for the thing that got me the most excited for the trailer?
Mm-hmm.
There's a boat.
Oh, okay. I love it.
And it sounds so silly, but like I can't remember the last time I just saw a legit boat, because usually they're like hovercrafts, you know, like in Resistance they had hovercrafts. They like, you don't see boats in Star Wars, and it's one of those things that like anchors it into our real world and makes it feel very real, but it's still just whimsical enough because there's Quarren on the boat, and Quarren are manning the boat, and they're on the things, and I just like, how cool would it be if they're sailing along and like you see like a Mon Cala just like come out of the water beside them and just swimming along, and or if like something happens and like Quarren are just coming off and on the boat in the middle of the ocean because they're ocean people. So it sounds so silly, but I got really excited about seeing a boat in Star Wars because it's just a cool thing. And I guess to be a little bit more Star Wars-y, I just kind of had to laugh when I saw the trailer that's out on Monday. I did see a little glimpse of my blue mithril guy, and I love him so much, and I'm like the only stan of this dude on here, but I got so excited to see him, because that just opens up so many possibilities of like who we're gonna go back to versus where we're going to go forward. And yeah,
Hosnian
boats
Prime.
in Star Wars, guys. There's boats. I love boats.
Boats in Star Wars, and maybe Hosnian Prime in The Mandalorian. That'd be pretty rad. Mark, how about for you?
I would love to see Hosnian Prime, because like Coruscant's my favorite planet, so like it hurts my soul that we never went back to Coruscant in the sequel trilogy. Like I love this planet; it's my favorite, and then like we never really see Hosnian Prime, and I would actually love to see it. To have a comparison, to see how it's like a poor man's Coruscant and it should have been blown up.
So going back,
let's flip the script, and all of a sudden we're gonna be really happy that it gets annihilated. Like we're like, oh, thank God, Kylo did the right thing. They did, or not Kylo, Hux did the right thing. All right, Mark, how about for you?
So yes, boats. I mean, I hope that there's enough footage that we can later on do like a fan edit and to have Celine Dion singing in the background with all the boat footage, and that'll be fun, you know. So there's that. There's what looks like to be like some type of a boxing, maybe wrestling match that we see later. I
Yeah.
want to see how they get themselves into that situation, and we see funny footage of Baby Yoda closing the pram, because
Yep.
shit's about to go down. Excuse my language, and that looks fun. I mean, I like that the trailer has given us little glimpses of what is ahead and what to expect, but not given us too much, because for me, I'm already sold on it, but they need to sell it to other folks who need to be brought back in, Baby Yoda alone is going to bring a lot of people back, thankfully. But yeah, I'm looking forward to what we're going to see on Monday, because I'm hoping we see something that, while isn't going to be super spoilery, is going to get us super excited. And I think they're saving something in that trailer that will make us, okay, we are super ready for this. Let's do it, So
I really hope that something is not orange, blue, and white. Please don't be orange, blue, and white.
Yeah.
That orange, blue, and white.
Not yet. I don't need to see that yet. Yeah. If you see like a shadow or like some kind of silhouette, cool. We don't need to have everything. Just a little tease of something. Don't spill the beans yet.
I could be here to see a white lightsaber blade strike that dark saber blade, and that's what closes the trailer. I could be down for that.
Okay.
That could be really cool.
I mean,
that could be cool.
Agree.
I don't think I ever mentioned it once on this podcast, but I actually don't want Ahsoka in the Mandalorian, period. I just don't, because
it's hard. It's tough.
I want her to have her own series first. Like, I want her and Sabine to have their series and to not have to, and maybe they can come in much later. But I really want them not to be there.
I mean, all of us here love Ahsoka, so I think we're all nervous. We mentioned it earlier in this episode. I think I trust how Rebels handled cameos, so I'm not super nervous about cameos and rumors of characters being in the season, only because of the track record of how they were handled in Rebels. So I'm a little bit all right. I'm really nervous because of who is possibly cast as Ahsoka. Really, I'm having a very hard time approaching that. I get very frustrated and I've said this myself, so I can say it out loud because I've said it here. I'm upset because it's I'm starting to feel that because Rosario Dawson is in a lawsuit of being mistreating a person of the trans experience, that the outside world can now say, well, let's hope it's not true. Like, we're willing to give her a second chance, where we're in a cancel culture that somebody sends one wrong tweet and we're really upset, but because it's one of us, like, all of a sudden they have a break of maybe it's okay, and it's just frustrating. And I feel like that is I think the LGBTQ community still has a very long way to go to be seen as actual humans, and trans people of the trans experience really have a long way to, or they don't have a long way to go, but the people and the perception of people of the trans experience being actual human beings has a long way to go. And I'm personally am struggling with this whole thing at this moment, and especially because I've said it myself of, I hope it's not true. I have started reflecting on those statements that I made myself, and I don't know. I haven't myself figured that out yet. But anyways, the illustrator of me, Mark, is very excited talking about Celine Dion on that boat, because now all I really want to do is illustrate a crossover of Jack and Rose on the tip of that boat, but Yoda and Yaddle on the end of that boat.
Please draw very confused Quarren behind them. Like, one of the Quarrens is like, "Sir, we can't see." Sir.
So would they, if Yoda was singing it, or Yaddle, would it be forever this way we will stay, whatever, mix up the lyrics,
Oh, Emma, how about for you? What are you excited about?
For me, it's the very first shot of the trailer where the Razor Crest is all jacked up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, I want to know what happened there. Like,
Yeah,
what,
yeah.
and what kind of peril are Din and the child in, because their main mode of transportation and like main shelter is obviously malfunctioning.
Wouldn't that be great if that's the very first shot of the entire next season? That's how the season opens.
Yeah.
Is just this broken Razor Crest.
I'm also, as has been discussed, I'm also really hoping that mysterious hooded figure is an Inquisitor, because that would just make my
Pretty
day.
sweet.
It seems to be popular on Twitter. That theory is definitely seems to be very
people
popular.
have also said Dr. Aphra, but I feel like the character of Dr. Aphra would probably be a bit older at this point in the timeline.
The character of Dr. Aphra is also more Asian.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah,
no whitewashing, please.
I know. That'll be super upsetting.
And actually, if I may indulge myself for a moment, I was thinking about alternative castings for Ahsoka. And again, to the age thing, a little bit old, only 10 years older than Rosario Dawson, though. Gina Torres. Like, how amazing would that casting be for Ahsoka? Like, I feel like she would be flawless. And she would also bring that really sort of regal bearing that an older Ahsoka needs to have. It's just,
I myself,
so
in my
poetic.
fan casting, I am team Anna Diop. I think Anna Diop looks like Ahsoka. I think Teen Titans was a horrible television show, but I think she was a bit of a standout in that show. I think she had a horrible script, a horrible show, a horrible thing, and somehow her character was still likable. So I think she's got some chops there. That is who I.
Yeah, she is fantastic. By the way, let's pause for a minute because Superboy on that show. So
I never even saw the second season. I don't know. Okay.
Anyway,
well, my son somehow finagled me into getting yet another year of DC Universe for $75 that he decided literally the next morning after I spent $75 for DC Universe. Oh yeah, I'm a Marvel guy. I don't like Disney, and he's never watched it. I'm like, really?
Yeah. What are they doing? Because that app is ending soon. Are you getting a refund?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Reach out to them and tell them what you're gonna do with my money, because that's a good chunk of money.
Yep. You can give me HBO Max for a minute. I'm cool to see that Raised by Wolves.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I too am very excited about the boat, but I kind of don't care about the boat. I'm excited about like the harbor and what the boat is, and it makes me think of season 1. When Grief throws the puck and we see Mon Calamari, and he talks about the calamari flan. Is that what the money was called?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, what if that's Mon Cala? That would be so awesome. We see Quarren there, and we see a harbor where there's somebody's got a backpack with water in it. So clearly they're amphibious, and I'm like, oh my God, I want to go to Mon Cala, and I really want another Mon Cala opera, and I want to see like an actual like spinning, flying around, whatever those dancer things were doing that we never got really a good look at, but I want to see it.
Yeah.
And I think that would be awesome, and I hope Emma or any of you will remember the name of the crazy, creepy shark person from Clone Wars. That general, because like
oh my God,
I really did not like that character. Just how when he first came on, I was like, oh, this is too real world.
Yeah.
But that was like 2 or 3 episodes, right? And by the end, I was like, oh my God, this character is so amazing. And that, like, when they had him in the prison and he was like going back and forth, I'm like, oh my God, this would be rad.
Riff Tamsin.
And he's Caradon.
I want to see that. And we've saw a quick trailer for during that the DC Comic-Con thing that they did. They showed a real quick picture of King Shark in Suicide Squad, and that second of a shot looked so awesome of King Shark. And now I just want to see what's it, Rift Torn? Is that what you said?
Rift
Tamsin. Like, again, like I did not like that character when he first came on. I was not a fan of the character design at all. But then at the end, I was like, oh, that character's good. Like, oh, anyway, so I would like to see some of those aliens. So I'm very excited thinking that we might go to Moncala because I think it'd be rad.
I always just want more aliens in Star Wars, just general. I don't think
Yes,
they're
exactly. That's
Yeah, it's
that's what
just-
we, it helps build the world, the aliens. I mean,
Yep.
Yeah, and it's just like I understand that it's money and it's cost, and you have to like either make up or CGI them and stuff like that. But it makes the universe feel so human centric, and you're missing out on so many like stories that are just there. Like I love Fallen Order, and while I haven't played it, I've watched so many Let's Plays and like deep diving stuff on that. But when I heard that like Cal was supposed to be either an alien or a woman, and they went with like a white guy, I was like, you're missing out on a much deeper story. Because, and I think the excuse I was reading, the writers were like, well, we just didn't think people would connect with them. And I was like, do you know who Ahsoka, Queen of the Universe, freaking Tano is? She is a woman and an alien. That just tells me that you're a lazy writer, that you're not trying, so you fell back on your white boy.
Yep.
I mean, I will say, I agree with everything you said, but then the gay in me comes out, and it's a ginger boy, and I love my ginger boys. So, like, I'm like, if he was just another brunette, I could be there, but I'm Team Ginger, and
Ryan, I understand. I totally get it.
Cal is a great character and stuff, but when you have a writer saying we didn't think that people connect with that tells me that you're a lazy.
Yeah, that's messed up.
I mean,
come on.
You're a lazy writer. Work harder.
I agree, but I guess I actually just came to the realization that Star Wars has been really good, and we just spent an entire roundtable saying Lucasfilm do better. And I forgot they gave me a gay unicorn, and I have my ginger. So, like, you're fine. Lucasfilm, you're off the hook. All is well. You are perfect. Disney, you're great. You're doing
Well, it's been nice knowing you,
just kidding,
but no, but here's okay. So I have a thing to say about this, which is that like I think we need to talk more about how when you're playing a female character in a video game, it changes the narrative. Like the same events can happen, but they feel like they happen in a completely different light. And I think one of the greatest examples of this is the Mass Effect franchise. Playing Mass Effect as a female shepherd is a totally different emotional experience from playing it as a male shepherd, especially when you're talking about I am losing the reptilian alien race. I can't believe I can't remember their names. I fail.
Mass Effect, but I know what you're talking about.
Right. So there's a race of aliens, and they're basically being subjected to like reproductive control.
Wow.
And you have to make an ethical decision about whether you're going to allow this to continue or if you're going to break that chain. And you're going to give them reproductive freedom. And that choice carries a completely different weight when you're playing a female character emotionally.
Yeah.
So it's like, again, the same events can happen, but the way that they're filtered in your mind is completely different. And I think that the meeting of the old crusty Jedi on Dathomir, if you're a woman, like that would play completely differently. Like because Cal trusts him almost instantly. Whereas I think if you were playing as a woman, like being a woman in the world, you would have a completely different emotional reaction to meeting some weird old guy.
Female, along with Marin and Sarah. Sarah, what is the woman's name? Trilla's master. It's Sarah.
Seer.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Like, having like Trilla Seer and my brain is just stopping. An all female cast. That would be just like so like such a powerful story.
Yeah.
And we've gotten so many like and that was kind of a thing going into it why I was so like kind of nervous about it, because everything I saw before the game came out, everything about Cal's story sounded like Kanan's. Like almost down to a T. Like I was like, this is Kanan the Last Padawan. This is that story.
Yep.
And it made me not actually want to play the game. But if it was a female, like that's a different, like trying to survive in the world as a female is very different from trying to survive in the world as a male. And when you're, especially like in these different power structures, and it's something that's already setting up in canon. I can't remember if it was Ray Sloan or Sienna Ree, but one of them were talking about, no, it was Ray Sloan. Ray Sloan was talking about how difficult it was not only for her to come up in the ranks in A New Dawn, but it was extra difficult because she was a woman. And
Wow.
people in the Empire didn't see her
Yeah.
equally because she was a woman. And it would have been just a completely different story, but I didn't want to even really look at Fallen Order to begin with because it was just so similar to Kanan's story.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
once I started seeing people's reviews came out, I was like, okay, I'm a poor kid, so I don't have the system to play it on. So I started watching Let's Plays, and I'm like, this is really good, but it could have been something different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can love stuff and be critical of it.
Yeah, exactly. No, and
No.
that's how I view Star Wars. I love it, but it's like I'm gonna be critical of it because I love it so much, you know.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, Em, you were mentioning about the reproductive control of
Mhm.
that particular race and everything, and because my brain is fried, wouldn't that be considered like eugenics, right? Is that like the picking and choosing of who gets to breed and who doesn't? Or maybe completely off
Well,
base.
the way
My
that
brain is
the
fried.
mechanism that they do it by is actually random. So what they've
Okay.
done is like they're not necessarily selecting who gets to and who doesn't. They've
Oh,
engineered it's another race of aliens,
yeah,
and they've
yeah,
engineered a virus so that
yeah.
only like 1 out of every 100 pregnancies of this race are viable.
Wow. Wow.
That's
And you have to
crazy.
decide if you're going to continue to allow the virus to like infect the populace and like,
Yeah.
or if you're going to end it forever and
That's
allow
super
them to
complicated.
have control over like their
Yeah.
own reproduction.
You know, I think that, yeah, that's bonkers. Yeah. I think to bring it back to Star Wars, but to stay on the subject of like of aliens and that representation that really in a lot of ways truthfully has been lacking in this new era of Star Wars is creatures just kind of in general. I go back to one of those first shots from Rogue One that we saw, an illustration of like who the team of Rogue One was going to be, and there was like a really big alien that looked kind of like a walrus a little bit maybe, and maybe even had a Lothcat on his. I'm just going off of memory of that thing, but I remember when that movie came out, and I like Rogue One a lot, but I feel that was a missed opportunity. You know, we have the line from Mon Mothma in Return of the Jedi is now an infamous line of, you know, many Bothans died to bring us this information. And by having only humans fighting to stop this Death Star, kind of, you know, there's a lot of worlds that are at stake to be destroyed, and it wasn't great representation for the galaxy at large to not have an alien fighting for their rights and their freedoms as well. I feel like it was really a lost opportunity of that, and it really bummed me out, and I'm still very bummed that it wasn't there.
Yeah.
And that laughing squirrel at the turret gun doesn't really.
Especially
Laughing
since like
squirrel.
before we started getting more diversity in Star Wars, aliens were our people of color coded characters.
Mm.
And sometimes it was quite racist. Look at Newt Gunray and their entire race.
Yeah.
But I remember when I was very early on in J Guys and Jedi, 5 years ago that we were podcasting. I remember the first, like I was still young and I didn't have quite the vocabulary, but I was trying to articulate like why Luminara was cool, but also why it was problematic. And of course, like now I have the vocabulary and I have more knowledge to talk about that. It's hinting at like Middle Eastern and South Asian people in Star Wars, but it's hidden behind this alien guise. But that's what we had at that time. And now we actually have South Asians in Star Wars. So then we can both have aliens with Mary Allens and someone like Bodhi Rook in the same universe, and then have these deeper conversations. But one of the things with diversity is we're also like losing, I feel like, the alien characters that add just entirely different layers as well. And there's so like that's why I love the 2015 novel, because it is an immigrant story. He is
Yep.
pretty much an immigrant. He has come from a different part of the universe where he's the only person here, and everyone is so xenophobic towards him. They're calling him these horrible names, and he's trying to rise up through this empire, pretty much like he's coming from another country, and he comes to power. And it's a very, like, that's one of the reasons I love that book so much, is it's such a powerful story, but he does it as an alien, as the other. One of my really good friends, Chase, we did an entire at 221 BCon, we did a Thrawn as the Sherlock Holmes of Star Wars panel, and who are his Watsons, and Anakin / Vader is a Watson because he fits the Watson character type. Surprisingly, I know. But my buddy Chase was talking about how, like, he saw Thrawn as a queer coded experience because he was the other, and and he saw a lot of himself as a bi man in Thrawn. And yeah, like we need to have more discussions about aliens because they are a very important part of Star Wars, and Star Wars is so human centric. And, and I just, it's a pet peeve of mine, just like in all media. I have this problem in Owl House of how all the main characters are the human elves when you have all these beautiful character designs of like monsters in the background. And I'm like, I want them to be main characters. Like, why are we doing this? And it's just a gripe I have just in all media of the aliens apparently are not good enough to be connected to. So we have to have very human centric stories. And
I think of the first Hellboy from, when did that movie come out? Like 2004 or something like that,
Yeah.
I remember seeing that in high school. I was tiny.
But I remember when Hellboy and Selma Blair, who is just, a very beautiful actress and a really great character, and at the end of that movie when they kiss, I remember very much noticing not a single person laughed. And here you have this big red devil that we all saw as a person and not a big red devil. And when they kissed, you were just so happy. So it can be done. Like, you can connect to a character that looks nothing like you. And sometimes I like aliens and I like being able to have those kinds of characters because anyone can identify, whether you're, regardless what your gender is, regardless whatever, because it's an alien, it also makes it removed a little bit. And so you can put yourself in it a lot more. I know we've just had so many discussions of actual representation, but I don't want it to be at the cost of that either, because I think that's equally as important. Even like a cisgendered white straight dude can sometimes see himself in an alien that they might not be able to see themselves in, a lead role or something. But it's intrinsically a part of Star Wars that makes the galaxy feel bigger than it actually, and it's just been missing. And I don't want that to go away. Like, I think about the Ewoks and what they represent to me just as a short person. It's like not even just being short and feeling that because I was short, I couldn't do things. And as a young person, and even like a young person, like I look at the Ewoks as representing youth in a lot of ways too. And I know people can code it how they need to. And the Ewoks are one of my favorite parts of all of Star Wars because of that. But like, I just felt like here they were, the thing that everyone dismissed. The Empire now comes in and colonizes this moon because there's just some little creatures here who don't even speak and they don't have technology, electrical technology or what, they don't have that stuff.
Yeah.
But what that represents, and it doesn't mean the same all the time when it's a human character.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why Ahsoka, we had a conversation before of, I don't even see Ahsoka Tano as anything other than a being, like just a being. And that's where it ends. And she's beyond everything else. She is just this being that I connect to. It's just like, I feel like she is this spirit that is shapeless and formless. And I think it's because she's also an alien that it makes it easier for me as a 40-something-year-old white gay man to see himself in a 14-year-old girl, that if she was a 14-year-old human girl, I don't know if I'd be able to see myself in her the same way, because I would see a 14-year-old human girl. And because she's not, she can be bigger than that, if that makes sense. And I also don't want to say that and take away like a female character from female Star Wars fans who found their first female in Star Wars in Ahsoka. Like it's I don't want to take that away from them, and that's not what I'm trying to do, but it
can be both.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be one or the other.
Yeah.
Wasn't it Aftermath where somebody had an emotional support Ewok and people and like fans were just like, that's a sentient person with feelings, like it's not a pet.
Yeah.
Because I remember Chuck Wendig having to address that, like, that's right, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I love my murder bears, by the way.
Yep. I love the Ewoks. I love everything about the Ewoks.
Yeah.
I didn't love the way they made the Ewoks look in The Rise of Skywalker. That did not. I felt like I was looking at Caravan of Courage again. That was a bad costume. Sorry, Wicket and Pommet, or what's his son's name? Pommet.
I will say I did get emotional when they released the behind the scenes before the movie came out and seeing oh my god, my brain just stopped. What's his name?
Warwick
Davis. Thank you. Yeah, Warwick Davis. I'm so sorry. Like seeing him sitting beside it, like with the head off, but like sitting in the costume. I was just like, he's Warwick Davis. Like I got super emotional.
Yeah.
Well, I think you go back to how he got the role, and he wrote. We have since learned this letter that he wrote to George Lucas, and George Lucas sent him the toys, and how this person.
He was so little.
Could have he was 10, right? Like he was.
I had no idea. Yeah, it's just the pictures like him with Carrie Fisher. Just it just opened up a whole new experience to what was really going on behind the scenes. And there's like this little documentary that he made too. With some behind the scenes stuff that I've seen out on the net. I don't know that I've ever sat down and watched the whole thing, but I've seen bits and pieces of it, and it just I couldn't imagine what it must have been like to be part of that production. And look at where he is now, and he's still part of it all. Yeah, you gotta love Warwick.
That's what made that little documentary so touching, and watching that and seeing how Star Wars never left him, just like it never left us little kids that were his age when we watched it. And I agree with you though. It's a very emotional like image. Just that shot is a very emotional shot. So to get back to more superficial conversation, Hope had brought up a fantastic idea before we say our goodbyes. What is, and correct me if I'm wrong, Hope, if I phrase this wrong, what is the most outlandish thing that we want to see in season 2 that we know we will not see in season 2? Did I phrase that correctly?
That's right.
Okay. So Hope, lead us in.
Okay. I phrased this question so I could be petty, and then I'm going to get into the thing that will not happen. One thing that really bothers me is so much of the canon is connected and stuff like that, except for one show which is constantly forgotten about, which is Resistance. There's no reason in the current Star Wars comics or the Darth Vader comics that Vanessa and Jarek are not in them. They should be like with fighting, because we know that they have histories with Poe's parents. They should be in these comics. There's no reason that Emmanuel and Griff shouldn't be on Star Destroyers in the background and stuff like that. In the current Darth Vader comic, they should be using these characters and connecting to them. So the most outlandish thing that I want, because I just want more Resistance love, is in the episode From Beneath. The most adorable gay couple in Star Wars, Orca and Flix. It's revealed that Flix was a failed cantina singer, and Orca was like, yeah, he doesn't talk about his cantina past. So the thing that I want is with Jim Rash still voicing him and Bobby Moynihan voicing them too. I don't care if they're like CGI or puppets or something. I want Din Djarin to walk into a cantina and you see Flix on stage singing horribly with Jim Rash voicing him, and it's just bombing horribly, and the crowd is just like, boo! And like you hear, like maybe Din just walks by the bar and you see Orca sitting there just being like, remember, you love your boyfriend. Remember, you love your boyfriend. You love him and you're supporting him. You're supporting him. And just Jim Rash is just hamming it up on stage, singing his flicks background. And it's his failed cantina days. I want it so bad. I want
I think that is hilarious.
I want it. And it's never going to happen because people don't like Resistance, and I don't know why. It's so good. It's some of the best Star Wars. It is some of the best Star Wars, and people didn't give it a chance. Brian.
I gave the first season a chance.
Yeah.
And I did not like it. I just had Mandalorian and the Rise of Skywalker.
It was doomed from the get-go. Like the producers making the executive order to finish it alongside Rise of Skywalker, so it was only 2 seasons.
Yeah.
It was doomed from the start. They shot themselves in the foot before the show ever aired.
I agree. And the time was weird, which maybe release time doesn't matter anymore. I don't know.
And they also, when they were writing season 2, they didn't actually know how Rise of Skywalker were going to end. So they had no idea how to end the show with it because they didn't have an ending. They had to finish writing in production before Rise of Skywalker was even finished writing.
And that makes sense how we got that ending. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I so badly wanted season 3 to actually go into Rise of Skywalker. I think they could really go out on a great note, and because now that you have Tam, who was actually working for the First Order and has inside knowledge of it, like they could actually be a resistance group.
That could have been really cool. Mark, how about you?
You know what? I'm gonna follow Hope on this one. Let me throw some little resistance love out there. If we're gonna throw those characters out there, let's bring Hype Phase on into this whole thing, but then have Zach Braff voice guest on there so that we have the 2 characters from Scrubs on Resistance in some weird form in the show in the Mandalorian. And they can do Eagle if they want. But I just because I've been on this Scrubs kick for the last year, it even less honestly. It's been since we went into lockdown, so I feel like I completely missed out on interacting with Donald Faison when he was in Chicago, because he was there amongst everybody. He was interacting with people. So was Bobby Moynihan. I mean, and now I feel like I just maybe it's just because I was so overwhelmed with so much great stuff that was going on that I didn't focus enough on the opportunity to meet these great people as they were interacting with everybody. But now I'm like, I wish I would have been into Scrubs already and kind of paid more attention then, but it is what it is. But yes, Hope, let's have a little more Resistance love. It really deserves it. That poor show, it almost had the opportunity to be great, and it just, like you said, got cut short because I think they just didn't know what was going to happen. And they dropped the ball. So.
And it's that one of the most diverse shows in front and behind the scenes. Almost the entire main cast is people of color, with the exception of Josh Brenner and Liam McIntyre. Like everybody else, of the main cast, are all people of color. The characters are all people of color, and it's such a good show. You have the first queer couple in Star Wars. It's so progressive and it's such a good show. And
Christopher Sean, was that the gentleman's name that plays?
Oh yes,
he's so
and he's so lovely.
He's so
cute.
And as if our listeners don't know, I'm a bit of an illustrator, and I absolutely love Patrick Nagel. I am a child of the 80s. Patrick Nagel is a gigantic influence on me from an artistic perspective. And I love that Star Wars Resistance looks like a Duran Duran album cover, in motion. The colors, all of it is a very Patrick Nagel looking show. And I think Star Wars Resistance is a beautiful looking television show. I love the way it looks.
Let me just say, if you go into a Resistance expecting it to be like Clone Wars or Rebels, and you're expecting it to change the canon, you're going to be disappointed. It's Resistance and Rebels, and I think I said this when you were on my show, Brian. Rebels and Clone Wars is how these shows affect the canon. Resistance is about how the canon affects everyday people. And that's the difference. And it's a different kind of show. And it's a personal story. And it's about how the wars of Star Wars hurts everyday people. So look at the show like that. It's not a show that's going to be changing the fabric of anything. It's just about people every day trying to survive fascism coming into their world. And it's also okay if Star Wars is fun. It's a little goofy. It's a fun little show. But if you actually think about like the deeper themes of the show, it's a horrific show. So it needs to be funny to balance it out.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch it from that perspective for sure. Since you said that. Emma, how about for you? What do you want to see?
The most ridiculous thing I could possibly think of seeing on the show would be what Luke is up to.
Yeah.
You know,
Why
like,
not?
like where is he emotionally? You know, it's like the Empire has been defeated, and you know his sister is settling into family life, and you know, like, so what's he gonna do? It would be great just to see him just as like a sort of dilettante, you know, like swanning around. I think that would be hilarious, and it would be kind of in keeping with his, you know, his wussy himbo personality.
Wussy himbo.
There was.
I love the word himbo. I just.
Yeah, it's great. It's perfect. I want to say it was like Did the acquisition happen in 2015? Right? 2014, 15.
Somewhere around there.
So right in there, I remember one of the earliest rumors was this idea there's going to be a new animated show coming out with Mark Hamill. They never said it was Luke, but it was, I think, supposed to be Luke, of Luke being this cloaked figure that was this like secret wizard out saving little people in small towns kinds of things. And he was just this hooded, it was almost like Star Wars meets The Shadow. And I'm so bummed we didn't get that, because I think that concept is so awesome, and like I love it. And so maybe we can get that with like put that in with Emma's idea of just this like, I think that would be great. I'm here for more Luke. Always for more Luke. I think for me, the most outlandish thing I would love to see, we have that boxing ring, so clearly they are in some sort of fight club, right? We see that he's talking to Cyclops Jon Favreau, who I'm almost convinced that character is in those, and I need to look this up because I haven't done it yet, the old Star Wars role-playing games. There is one of those aliens in there. I know it's in there. I see the drawing in my head. Anyways, I need to look that up because I think that's what. Anyways, we see that the lights go out when the little what were they?
It's the Iron Man shot.
Yeah, the Iron Man shot. I'm completely blanking on what the whispering sparrows. What
the whistling birds.
Yeah.
It's Iron
and
Man.
then
whistling birds. Yeah.
He shoots tweets at them.
Oh, and those tweets are vicious.
Yes, they are.
It's like little reads in a row. I'm gonna read you, bitch. I'm gonna read you, bitch. I'm gonna read you. That's what he's doing. The library, it opens, and Baby Yoda's like, the library is open, bitches.
Exactly.
There you go, Ian. And so there's more Ian snaps and Ian. We see Baby Yoda close his pram, and then the screen goes black, right? And the next thing we know, Din is chucking knives into Zabraks. So what I want to have happen in that darkness that we don't see is a Zabrak somehow got Baby Yoda out of the pram, and there's a Fight Club scenario where Baby Yoda is in a little mini arena, holler back to Attack of the Clones, and he's fighting for his life over a pack of Lothcats who are there to eat Baby Yoda. And we're going to have Baby Yoda versus the Lothcats arena scene.
Oh, jeez.
That's my outlandish story that I want to see.
Oh, my God.
I'm trying. I'm covering my face because there's one of the for my other podcast, What Makes Pros Watch Cartoons, we're going through Gravity Falls, and one of the key things and beautiful things of Gravity Falls is they make up their own television shows, including like reality shows, and they have a reality show called Baby Fights. And all it is two babies sitting like in a crib, and like someone reaches in a stick and pokes a baby, and the other baby just turns and accidentally hits the other baby, and this fire death metal like title comes up, and it's like baby fights. Like that's all I can think about just now. Look it
Oh
up.
my god.
Okay, so I'm going to add to it now. I don't want death metal in Star Wars, but if we get this Lothcat versus Baby Yoda brawl, I want I'm not even going to pretend to say his name. Drop in some dubstep, and we're going to like get into some deep electronic dubstep German house music. Drumming is like Baby Yoda's just taking out Lothcat after Lothcat. That's I
want to add to this too, because if we do it now, not that the dubstep thing isn't a cool idea too, but if we are going to have metal in Star Wars, let it be Christopher Lee's work, and so that we get some Dooku made metal. You know?
Oh, there we go. I love it. All right. So before we leave, thank you again, everyone. This was an extra little treat with one last little mini table. We're like sitting at a smaller table, but we're all here together, and I'm very grateful. So before we say goodbye to our wonderful listeners, who thank you to the three of you, and thank you to the other 6 of you, right, that are not here today, but have been a part of this roundtable. Thank you for the words that people have sent. You've had a wonderful impact on our listeners. You have helped people's minds grow. You've helped my mind grow. I feel like all of us have had our minds grow a little bit in speaking to one another. So I'm very, very thankful for that. Look at the magic that Star Wars can do. And a little show that was supposed to be a know-nothing man walking through the desert with a gun and was just supposed to be a fun Star Wars show without a lot of impact. Look what it has done. And it's true Star Wars at its best. And I love Mandalorian probably even more now than I did when I first loved it. And I think Star Wars, or The Mandalorian, is, with a capital I and a capital S, is Star Wars, and it's perfect. And I think it. But we have read and put in queer theory into this show very much, so much so that that's how I see the show, and it will never be anything other. But before we say goodbye and do our little plugs for our socials, Hope had another great idea of let's share an actual queer show for our listeners who are queer or are not queer, or some of these amazing parents who have queer children who've reached out to me. That was some very beautiful things that I have read for them to go watch, to actually see a show specifically designed for a perspective of the queer experience. So Hope, let's start with you.
All right. So for the kiddies, I would say start with Steven Universe, and then you can move up after that into Owl House, which is actually going to be on Disney Plus October 30th. And also Qi'ra, Princesses of Power. All of those are very queer shows. And for the adults, personally, one of the most important shows to me that's so well done, and it was so ballsy too, because in Japan, queer content is heavily censored, and the fact that they were able to get away with it is just so ballsy of them. But there's a wonderful anime called Yuri on Ice, and it's considered like the gay ice skating show, but really like the queer romance is secondary, because it's about an ice skater named Yuri, and he's actually a really good ice skater, but he's so crippled by his anxiety and he struggles with depression that he holds himself back from becoming a better skater. And when Victor, which is a rival skater that retires, wants to become his coach, and he ends up being the love interest, he can see in Yuri like his greatness, and he pushes him. But the entire show is actually about Yuri overcoming his own mental hurdles to be a better person, and he just happens to fall in love with a man along the way, and it's such a beautiful story. The first episodes, like the first 2 episodes, are a little bit rough. It doesn't really start finding its footing till episode 3, but it's one of the most beautiful pieces of media I ever seen. I can't wait for the movie. I can't wait till season 2 comes out. because it's been like 3 years since the last season, and I've watched it so many times, and it's just a really good story, not only about mental health and how to be a better person and learning how to love yourself before you love someone else. It also just happens to have a gay side character too, where he falls in love with this gay man and then they become a beautiful gay couple, and it's great. So check out Yuri on
Awesome.
Ice, guys. It's so good. But for kids, Steven Universe is really good. Owl House is really good. Qi'ra Princesses of Power are all really good queer stories for children.
And also go to geekygirlexperience.com. Did I get that right?
Yes,
and read
yes.
Hope's article on Qi'ra because it's really great and wonderful.
I'm hoping to do a couple more soon, but I also talk a lot about it on, like I said, my other podcast, Hope Makes Chris Watch Cartoons. We will eventually get to those shows, but right now we're doing Gravity Falls, and next we're doing Avatar. So,
oh,
Nice.
Have me back for that show, please.
Of course, honey.
Mark P, how about for you?
All right. Well, I'm gonna go with shows that have been out for a while, and have had a pretty big impact. But I still think for those that haven't had a chance to watch it, they should. So I'll start with Pose. For me, I learned a lot more about drag and ballroom culture from it, but not only do you get these interesting characters and perspectives that I didn't get to see as I was growing up as a young gay man, there's also the culture of late 80s, early 90s, and what we were all going through, with AIDS being very prevalent. Not that it's not now, but it just was a different beast then. Just seeing a lot of the struggles of the community then, what they were going through. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful show, fantastic characters, and it's a time capsule that I love seeing these characters and what they're going through. The other show is Schitt's Creek, which very super accessible. You gotta love it. Moira is fabulous, and there's so many different characters in there. But the character of David, when I first started watching the show, at first I was like, I don't know if I like these characters. It's like it was hard for me to get into. And then David, I was like, I don't know. It's like I don't really like him much. And then I started seeing parts of myself in that character. Then I started seeing other gay men as parts of that character. And he helped me become more comfortable with myself. And so his journey it means a lot to me, seeing what he does, how he finds his partner, everything that happens in that show. Like that character and just, Dan Levy just in general. I just admire him so much, and that show really, really opened my eyes a lot. And I think if you haven't already, there's more than one reason to watch it because it's great comedy. It's got great actors, but as far as like queer culture goes, it's such a great addition to what we already have going now and what we're seeing out there. As we get represented more and more in media and so forth. So.
That's awesome. Emma.
So I also have a suggestion for kids and one for adults. So my suggestion for kids is Julie's Green Room, which is a puppet show that features Julie Andrews, and it takes place at a theater, and it's all about teaching kids the value of the arts and how important and transformative art can be and how fun it can be to participate in things like theater. But it also talks about, well, for one thing, there's a non-binary character. So there's a non-binary child, and which I just think is a great concept. But also I think, like, as queer people, the arts have always been a place where we've experienced like safety and personal fulfillment. And I know for me personally, like I had an education in the arts. I went to an arts high school, and it was like transformative for me. It shapes my entire life, and I wouldn't change like 1 minute of that experience. And so it's great to see that represented in pop culture and to have the possibility of sharing that with another generation so that they can have the same positive experiences that I did.
what platform is that on?
It's
Is
Netflix. It's a
YouTube or-
Netflix show, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had forgotten all
Oh.
about it, and I love Julie Andrews, and I'm ashamed that I completely missed it because I forgot that had debuted, and
yeah.
I need to go find it now. Oh,
And the theme
I've
song,
never even heard of it.
the
How
theme song is
amazing.
just the most sweet, charming thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
Aw.
So highly, highly recommended.
Sold.
So
this
now
kid
for
is
adults,
sold.
Yeah.
for adults, the queer show that I'm going to recommend is also a Netflix show, and it is Sense8.
Oh, I've heard good things about Sense8.
Sense8 is incredible, and it encapsulates the whole philosophy that I've been talking about expanding our ideas of like what gender is, what sexuality is, what humanity is. Like that's the core of the show. It's the center of the show. And not only that, but it has really profound things to say about art as well, about relationships, about emotion. And when you really get down to it, the show is about the characters learning to love. Like it's every episode of that show is full of love and getting to witness the love between the characters and them learning to love themselves and each other, and the way that their relationships with each other have a ripple effect on the rest of their lives. So even the people who are not, even the characters who are not bonded to each other the way that the core 8 are, the connections and the emotion between the people in the cluster have an effect on the people in their lives, on their family members, on the partners that they choose to have, on their friends. And so it's just this really powerful testament to the intensely rewarding experience that it is to connect with yourself fully and to make yourself fully vulnerable to others, because I think we don't have that conversation very often. And we've talked a lot on the show already about how difficult it is to be authentic and how difficult it is, like how much of a challenge it is to allow yourself to experience those emotions and experience that vulnerability. But one thing that we haven't really talked about is that as risky and frightening and unknown as those things are, they are equally rewarding. And it's incredibly fulfilling to live an authentic life with real connections between other people. Like there are no words for like the quality that brings to your life, and the way that it can take the hard things and the unfair things that life throws at you and soften their edges and make them easier to bear. And I think that those are stories that we need to tell more often. And Sense8 is like a super concentrated hit of that. There is graphic violence, just like so people know. And there's things like medical abuse and stuff that people may find triggering. So just like if you need to like look up triggers before you watch it, please do. Take care of your mental health. You know, it is quite a violent, like there is a lot of violence, there's a lot of opposition that the characters go through. It is like an action, it's like an action movie. It's got violence typical of that type of genre. But if you're okay with that, I highly, highly, highly recommend it, because like I said, the love and the connection and the intimacy between the characters, and you just get to see things on screen that like people experience but nobody talks about. It brings to light so many things about the human experience that are never portrayed in media, and it's so refreshing and just completely unique. So that's my sales pitch for Sense8.
Oh, maybe fall in love with that show all over again.
So my television shows Pose, I think, is incredibly important. I cannot believe how gay that show is. Like, I just can't believe how gay it is. And I think it's an incredibly important show. I was around that time, I was a 4 or 5 year old kid when when a big chunk of that show started. As it went on later, I was probably 10, 11, 12. We know we're queer when we're that young. We don't necessarily, I think children now it's different, but we didn't have the language to know how we were different, but we knew we were different. I've had this conversations with Mark P here, actually, in personal conversations of growing up as a 4 or 5 year old kid in, the early mid 80s during the height of the AIDS crisis, what that did to me years later when I was coming out and seeing that on the news, and how here in the United States and how the government treated queer people dying of AIDS was horrific. It was sad. It made it so terrifying to be gay. It made it literally terrifying to realize, because at that moment in time in 1995, when I first told myself I was gay, I had to not only understand being gay, but I had to accept the idea that I was going to die of AIDS before I was 30. And it was incredibly, that is something that unless you're us, you will never understand how hard that is. And being 15, 16 years old is already hard enough for everybody. And I grapple with a shortened lifespan at that age was just awful. We've talked about on this podcast with Toby and Kayla met about the erasure of the AIDS crisis, the erasure of the struggle of gay marriage. And this show shows you brutally and honestly what that was like. Those are the people of that generation that got us where we are today. It was those people that allowed this podcast to have people who are not LGBTQ plus actually invested in listening to hearing our stories. It was because of those, and those specifically, those trans people that got us where we are today. And that show is so incredibly important. And the fact that that show is as gay as it is amazing, because it is gut punching, but these women will read each other like you will never know. And I don't think that exists in the straight world, but that is so real how it is when you're with a group of gay people. There's like, I question all the time, bitch, no, you're such a bitch. I wonder if that is like, is that in our community, that is like this term where it's like, you're a bitch, but I kind of like it. I don't even know if that translates outside of our community. I have no idea what that word means outside of my little bubble, but I know what it means here. And it is this equal, like, good for you and how dare you at the same time. But that show goes to those kinds of things. I think Elektra in that show is such an important character, and what happens to her halfway through season 1, it is such an honest show. It also takes place in Melrose Place at the same time. And it is like so gay on every level, is perfect. So I love that. Kids, I love that we've been talking about kids things. Kippo and Kippo and something.
So
but Kippo
and the Wonder Beast.
Kippo and the Wonder Beast just launched season 2.
So bad.
It is so good. It is so good. And my boys were watching it, and there's this scene, and the way they handle coming out on this show is beautiful. It is so,
isn't it?
Yeah, it is so good.
Yep.
And it speaks to the younger generation of, oh, okay, it is what I wanted. A minor spoiler of the show, but whatever. Like it is what I wanted for Tross. I wanted Poe to come out to Finn, and Finn saying, that's not for me, but I'm all right. And the way that these two characters, one is straight, one is gay. The straight person had a crush on the gay person. The gay person's like, I thought you knew I'm gay. There was nothing about it. The person on the fierce, it doesn't change a single thing. And for little kids to see that is so, like, I'm so grateful for it. I'm going to get emotional, but like, I'm really proud of it, because for me, it means my children's friends on the playground might also watch that show. And now they're not going to judge my children who have two dads the same way that maybe they would have without that show. And it's just handled beautifully, and I love it. So for adults, because Pose was taken, and I just spent 25 minutes talking about how important Pose is, because I really believe it is that important of a show, is Love, Victor is such a fun, sweet, charming show. And it's about a young kid trying, and it actually spends the time with a young person trying to put it together if they are or not, and the struggles that all of us have to go through when we are in high school, or at least for me when I was in high school, trying, am I or am I not? And it handles it so beautifully, and I can't wait for season 2, because he comes out to his parents and we don't know what's going to happen, and he understands, we've mentioned it on this podcast, that queer people have to not only come out to themselves, they oftentimes, and I don't want to cause, come out to our family also. And it is incredibly hard to come out to our family, because our family also has to come out with us in their social circles. And that isn't always easy for anybody. And we, the queer children, have to carry the weight from our parents. And it is very, very, very difficult. So,
Oh, Brian.
so if you're a parent, if you are a parent listening to this podcast and you have a queer child, take the minute you need, but tell them you love them. Ooh, I wasn't expecting this.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. But it is a weight that we have to carry. And it isn't talked about. And it's hard. And I don't want to vilify parents. Some parents probably should be vilified, but I don't want to vilify parents because it's hard for them too. Because parents have to understand that their children are now being put in a world that does not love them. It is a world that is not built for us. It is a world that we have to find for ourselves and build for ourselves. And parents also have to worry about their children living in that world. And it's difficult for them too. It is very easy for young queer people. I've been one of them who gets mad at our parents because they don't support us right away. And it's difficult. It is a difficult situation. I'm not excusing that behavior either, but it is the weight. And again, if you are a parent listening to this podcast and you made it through all of these things and you're listening to my rant now, if you have a queer child, love them. And you, as a parent, owe it to your child to keep your fear to yourself. It is a very difficult thing to be a parent. I don't care if you're 35, if you're 42, if you're 55, you're still a child. I don't care if you're a parent at 88 years old, you are still a parent, and we still look at you as our mommies and our daddies or whatever. You are always that, and we will always need you. And it is your responsibility to be strong for your children. I don't care how difficult it is. I am a parent. I'm a parent of children with trauma. I have to deal with it every single day, and it is hard. There are two parents on this podcast. We know how hard it is to be a parent, but that was our choice. Our children did not ask to be here with us. That was our choice and is our responsibility. And I'm sorry that I am on my soapbox, but I feel like it is important because I am now a queer person who has to deal with the shame that I put on my very conservative family. I know it is very easy for queer people to lambaste and hate Republicans, but I have two parents who are very, 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 very proud Republicans. But you know what? They're still my parents. You know who's been my number one cheerleader? My parents. Was it that way all the way at the beginning? No, it took work on all of our parts to get there, but they are still there. So I get frustrated, and I understand as queer people why we love to attack the Republican Party. I get it. I understand, but that is not everyone. That is not everyone's experience, and there are good people on all sides. And I didn't mean to go down that as a political, but anyways, like we as queer people carry that for our parents. And I want every single parent of a queer child to understand the weight that we put on ourselves for the cause that our coming out has a ripple effect on those people that didn't ask for us to be gay. We didn't ask to be gay, but there's a ripple effect. And you don't have to you're, as the parent, not the one carrying that burden. We are. Because if you lose friends, you lose a sibling, you lose a parent, we know it was because of us. We know that. And it's hard. It is hard. And it never, ever, ever, ever goes away. So, again, I'm sorry I was crying, but if you're a parent to a queer child, love them. If you're a parent of a non-queer child, love them and show them some of these shows that we've just mentioned for your children so you can understand. Because what if your child becomes the best friend of a queer person? And what if that queer child then comes out to their family and their family kicks them out? Maybe you're the home, maybe you're the couch they end up landing on because we have nowhere to go. Queer people have nowhere to go. We are hated by so many people. There are so many young homeless children in this country because people do not support us. As a parent of foster children, if you are a queer teen parent who's in the foster system, you know how likely you are to come out and get adopted? Next to nothing. If you're a person of the trans experience,
the 28 people who were murdered this year because they were trans that is not talked about. Because they were trans, it exists. That erasure that we talked about in our second roundtable exists. So you as parents are raising the next generation. And we've talked about how there's old things dying on the vine right now. Be the parent who helps support the change. And if you're listening to this podcast, I know you're open-minded enough to at least try your best to get there. But it is the parents' responsibility. It is not the children. It is not the next generation's responsibility. It is we are the ones in power right now. We are the ones with the powerful votes. We are the ones doing it. And we need to listen to the younger generation who's pushing us into the right direction. So we need to get off our fucking soapbox and stop being fearful of this change and make the change ourselves, because our children need us and we will always be parents. And with that, what is our socials? It's so superficial. You can follow me on Twitter at you can ship who you want. All ships are valid.
Yeah.
Hey, that's my line.
Now she's gonna blow up your ship, Brian. That was a double punny there. So, what a journey!
Mark, where you find
yeah, this is a great way to end the roundtables. Honestly, I think you brought it all home, Brian. That was beautiful. It was emotional, and I needed that. I needed that. So anyway, should we start with our socials now? We can have at it. All right. All right. You can find me on Twitter at I am El Diablito. Podcast wise, I am taking a number 2, which is a Trek podcast that you can find through the Bad Motivators Patreon feed. And
there we go.
Yeah, that's it.
Emma, where can we find you?
I can be found on Twitter at Foxfleur, FOXFLEUR. Ship who you want. All ships are valid.
Love it. Hope.
Remember when we said hour and a half talks?
Yeah.
It's us. You can find me at Hope Molinax. I have my website, geekygirlexperience.com, where I write about animation, Star Wars, queer topics, and sometimes all at the same time. And I also have another animation podcast called Hope Makes Chris Watch Cartoons. And if I can ask, so I don't forget, because I'm very excited about it, what's that cool thing that you 3 are about to do?
So
Nice
you can
segue.
also find, yes, thank you, Hope. You will also be able to find Mark P. and Emma here on Pink Milk After Dark. Where I have got sexy, moody electronic music. I've got it all going. I've been working on this for weeks. I'm very excited, but Mark P and M will be here live streaming with me on Friday nights on YouTube, and we will be releasing a podcast version. But Pink Milk After Dark with Brian, Mark P, and Emma, we are very, very, very excited to bring you deep dives into Star Wars, something that Tom and I cannot do, but we will be, yes, we are talking Star Wars queerly. So anyways, we're very, very excited. So that will be coming out next Friday. Get ready.
Wait,
We'll try not to suck.
No.
Wait a second.
Nope.
Wait a second.
No
You
teeth.
said that
No,
you'll
just
be
kidding.
talking Star Wars queerly? Wait, this is a gay podcast? What?
Yes. Leave now, Hope. And Hope is gone. Her screen just went black.
We've lost all hope.
All right. Thank you, everyone. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Drink
up. So, sorry about the Kleenex. Sorry about the crying. Maybe? Yeah. I don't know where that came from. But I will say these last 4 episodes before today have been really wonderful. I am just so incredibly grateful to my Pink Milk family, and I'm very happy that we found each other. And this community is all about found families. It's all about the word family, and it has just really been exemplified in these 4 roundtables, because most of us were total strangers before this happened, and now
We're really close. And what y'all don't see is all the conversation we have off mic, all the conversation we have on Twitter. It's just really awesome. And it was very hard for me to say goodbye. But as you just heard, it's not totally goodbye. And I'm very excited to have Mark P. and Emma join me on Friday nights for Pink Milk After Dark. So we're going to give our stab at live streaming. I'm super stoked. We just have a really, really great time. And normally Tom and I don't get to do super deep dives. So I'm really excited as a Star Wars super nerd to go on to some deep dives with my new Pink Milk family, Mark P. and Emma, on a regular basis. All of our other people, I'm sure, will be on and off the pod fairly often because we really did grow very, very close. I think it's clear on the podcast, but it's also clear in real life. So I'm very excited about that. I am super tickled about Pink Milk After Dark. I can't wait. This upcoming Friday will be our very, very first live stream. So that is October 23rd, 2020, 9 p.m. here, Arizona time, which I think is Mountain Standard Time right now. I don't know. We don't change time. So I don't know. Keep an eye out on our socials for that. We would love it if you came and joined our very, very first live stream. I'm sure it'll be a hot mess as we learn how to do this, but we're excited. Thank you, Emma. Thank you, Mark, for joining me on this new adventure in this edition of Pink Milk. With that said, make sure you go to Apple Review and give us a written review and a 5-star review when this episode comes out. Please make sure to retweet it. Tell someone that you think might be interested. Share it with someone who you haven't shared it with before, and then head over to Pink Milk on YouTube. Don't look for that K-pop band. I think they're a K-pop band. There's another Pink Milk, but it's not Star Wars Pink Milk. So if you type in Pink Milk Star Wars on YouTube, we're the first place to see. Make sure to smash that like button. That is my YouTube lexicon already starting, and I'm very excited. So until then, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at servingpinkmilk. You can visit us at servingpinkmilk.com, where you can find videos from guest spots I've been on. You can see our mixtapes that we release every Friday for a Pink Milk dance party that will now also be a live stream. You can do all those things. Follow us on Twitter at servingpinkmilk. You're mostly talking to me, so you can do that. And I look forward to seeing more of you and having more interactions on YouTube. Until then, drink up.